Kendra, Kendra, Kendra. Woo!
I wanted to start with an introduction of an odd astronomical event that has happened in the last 3 days that I think is significant.
This is the Pluto.
This is a Sun-Pluto conjunction in the last degree of Capricorn and then the first degree of Aquarius. And then your birthday is still in that range, and this is kind of a very odd thing. You know that you have one of the outer planets changing signs, which are one of the easiest things to track in terms of what influence a sign has or a period has. I mean, they're in 20-year periods, and you can look at 20-year periods when the Pluto was in various signs, and there were definitely things that happened that were plutonic in regard to the subjects around those signs. So when it changes sign, it's a big deal. We really are entering into an age of Aquarius, though it's not going to be like the hippies thought.
Right.
but a very different orientation is going to come about, different than what we have had for the last 30 years, which is a kind of an obsession with government and Capricorn kind of things and how things are run and the what are they always, the phrase they're always using, systemic failures. This is all Pluto and Saturn stuff. Whenever it moves through a sign, whatever subjects that are involved in that sign, there are changes involved. So what it's going to be like is a big question. And to have the Sun on the day that Pluto is going to change signs, and have the Sun come exactly conjunct the Pluto. It's what they call a kazami, where you have the energy of the Sun and the planet fused so much that it gives special insight. And I thought, oh, well, this is an interesting and kind of cool. Here, the Sun is at 2930, and Pluto is at
58.
Yeah. And then you advance it, and they're exactly conjunct, and then Pluto moves into Aquarius, that's a really odd thing, that they were exactly conjuncted the last minute of the last degree, and then Pluto's changed signs. So then right at January 20th, Saturday, then it went exactly conjunct. Then Pluto entered Aquarius, and they were partile in the first degree of Aquarius.
I tried to watch the Chris Brennan thing, but it was like
so
3 hours.
Yeah.
I was like, dude.
Which about the Pluto and the signs?
Yeah.
Well, I got jammed up with New Assyrian Empire and that guy, what's his name?
Ashurbanipal.
Yeah, Ashurbanipal. Chris Brennan had this whole thing about it was a certain part of his reign that they did all of these cuneiform tablets. They gathered all the knowledge on the face of the earth and did it in these cuneiform, put them in a special sacred place. And then when they finally lost, as all great empires do, they burned the palace to the ground, and it like pottery, it fused them.
Because they were clay tablets.
Because they were clay tablets. So they were set in there, buried fused for 2,000 years, and now they've got all the people that can read cuneiform are just going nuts, but they've got about 10 years of work to even get into it.
Wait, who reads cuneiform? Just like museum people or something?
Yeah.
There's
Three
scholars.
people in the
Wait, I
world.
want to learn cuneiform.
That's why it's going to take them 10 years.
There's always a few.
It looks
like,
so
don't even
cool
have
though,
them
those
touch
clay
it.
tablets like in the British Museum and stuff, they're beautiful.
But that was his whole point of this, was that it was during this time that there were 10 observatories set up around his empire that kept absolutely strict astronomical records of what happened when what planet did what. They weren't doing Hellenistic astrology, but they were recording phenomenon that was common to different things. Like all the cows died, when Venus was rising or whatever. And so they've got from how they started doing things, writing this stuff down. They have something like 700 years of records of what happened according to what movement of the planets. That they're just starting to. That's a treasure trove. I mean, there's nothing else that compares to that in terms of a long-term record.
That's why
huge. I
Happy
mean,
News is bullshit. You gotta do it on a clay tablet or a phone, right?
Right, as part of this whole change in the whole atmosphere of the next 20, you never can really predict. You have ideas like this, like there's obviously some kind of huge technology change that's going to happen, that's going to change everything. And there's also going to be people who have the levers of power are going to try to control it in some way that they really, they'll have very, very different effects. So it's an interesting time to be born, and the fact that the sun is exactly partile Pluto at the moment of your birth. I think that this, for some reason,
In the solar return.
yeah, in the solar return, you see the sun is only 150 and Pluto's at 2 minutes. So they're still 40 minutes apart. They're still within the same degree. It's not like a Kazami, but in the same degree is incredibly strong.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm sorry. Which chart is up right now?
Solar return.
Kendra's solar return chart.
Wow, look at everything's in the bottom. Beside the moon.
Yeah. All the.
Well, I'll tell you, the first thing that struck me is the fact that it is a bowl that's defined by a T-square. So you've got this opposition between the moon
And Venus.
and Venus and square Neptune. So, the Lord of the Year is Jupiter. And you have Sagittarius rising.
Sign.
Yeah,
Right.
and Jupiter is about great good fortune and confirmation. Now, interestingly enough, Jupiter can't see the ascendants. It's in the 6th house, but the 6th house for you is a very interesting place because it's not just cats and disease. It's also healing powers, and a positive sign like Jupiter in the 6th house. If it's connected, the fact to the other parts of the chart will be incredibly powerful, and it's in this. Yeah, it's sextile Saturn, which is sextile Mercury, so it's got this benevolent. Sextiles and trines are harmonious and benevolent, so it has this benevolent connection with Jupiter and Saturn, which really makes for good work. Now, one thing that is interesting is that the ruler of the ascendant is in the sign of Taurus, and the ruler of Taurus is in the sign of Sagittarius. So there is this thing that they call mutual reception. If two planets are in each other's sign, then they have a working relationship, even though they're inconjunct.
Can you show us on the chart?
Yeah. See.
So the ruler of Sagittarius.
The ruler of Sagittarius, which is Jupiter, is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, which is in Sagittarius. So the rulers of the signs are in each other's sign. So that gives them a harmonious way of working together. So Jupiter's in really good shape, actually, and in control of things. Run the ship.
Nice.
Great.
And it's co-present with Uranus, which you have Uranus rising in your natal chart, so it's already something that you're familiar with.
Yeah.
But now it has Jupiter to lighten
That's
things
I
up.
feel like Uranus has been taking a chill pill lately in my life.
It's because Jupiter's in the sign.
Well, I
since
mean,
last
the last
May.
few years, yeah.
Mm.
I would say.
Well, and Saturn has had such a strong benevolent effect. Saturn, I think, is well placed in your natal chart.
He's not my enemy.
Now, one thing you'll notice, on the left is her natal chart, on the right is her solar return chart. The planet Neptune, which is at the center of the T-square, is exactly conjunct the ascendant of the solar return chart. So Neptune is a big force. And the thing that I was most concerned about was the fact that Neptune is square the moon, which
Very
can
delusional.
Yeah, that's a danger of unconscious, subconscious delusions throwing you deep into the ocean.
Unconscious delusions.
Unconscious delusions.
Yeah, Neptune is stuff you don't really see.
Right.
Well, I've always thought that Chiron was significant in this chart and that I represent Chiron in her life.
That's interesting.
And it was square the moon when she was born, which...
What does that mean?
Well, just like you can only really, this is what Mrs. Staveley's saying, you can really only have one husband in your life, somebody that you were actually married to. That really just happens once, no matter how often you get married and divorced. And
That sucks.
it was the same with your teacher, with your Sherfu. The first person you really attached to is someone who could guide you on the way. And even if you discover that they're total delusional misanthrope and distorter of reality, still you have that kind of deep in your character, and it's and with you, Chiron is a significant God. You kind of are attracted to things that are a little bit broken.
Yes, that's true.
But also, with it aspecting the moon in the 4th house, and you grew up in a Gurdjieffian environment, that it's always this kind of present factor in your life. But the moon is separating from Chiron, so you're maybe trying to always kind of move outside of it, but it always is. It's too close, and it always is attached to you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Well, the reason that I noticed it is that you are having your once-in-a-lifetime Chiron return. It has come back to the same place it was when you were born, which is this year.
Once in a lifetime.
Once in a
How long
well,
has
if you
Chiron?
live to be 102.
49 years.
Really?
Yeah.
But it all. Oh, interesting.
So some people make a second Chiron, but most people, and it really is connected with the 50s. Just the kind of things that
Like illness that comes and
yeah, and you, in terms of your professional life, you turn a corner. You're either totally at loose ends and flailing, or you have a profession and a career that you're settled in.
what does that have to do with
Thank
Chiron?
you so much.
Or you become the teacher.
I think that's accurate. It has to do with archaic skills, which is what Chiron teaches, and that's people who are guided to a degree by Chiron. That's why they go to him, even though he's broken, because he knows something about the old stuff. Okay, what have I missed?
I know
I've missed a
Preston's
number
always
of
on
important things.
Well, we could definitely talk about Mars and
Yeah.
Mercury.
Yeah,
And
Mars and Mercury, and they're just and they have just moved.
This is the year I'm gonna make money.
Oh, that was the first thing when I saw this. Was it's like money, money, money. It sings.
Well,
Like, I'm
the
sick of
fact
being broke.
Well, you just wait.
the fact that Mars is exalted in Capricorn is the best place for it.
And the second house of money.
In the second house
And
of money,
your money.
with
For
Mercury.
my money, not other people's money.
But the lot of fortunes in the 8th house of other people's money.
Yeah, that's all good. So you're getting other people's money and your own money? Maybe other people's
So
money
it's
is
straight
becoming
into your
her
bank
money.
account.
Sweet.
mean, it points to money in a couple of different ways. So, first with Jupiter and Taurus, since we've already talked about it, Jupiter is the money planet.
Yeah.
Big money. And that's your 8th house in your natal chart. And I consider the 8th house is the entrepreneur's house because it's the house of other people's money.
If you define entrepreneur as somebody who figures out how to use
Right.
other people's money.
And get other people's money.
Yeah.
And it's the 2nd house to the 7th, which the 7th house is other people, and the 2nd house is the house of wealth and income. So
Yeah, that makes sense.
So when people have placements in the 8th house, it's your likelihood of getting somebody else's money. So you have Mars in your natal 8th house in Taurus.
Staying in the birth chart.
In your birth chart, yeah. Taurus is your 8th house in your natal chart, which is ruled by Venus, and Mars is there, which is its opposite. So it has like some conflict of that's not what pleases Taurus. Taurus wants money, but there's some conflict about it. But this year, and it already started back in May of 2023, Jupiter moved into Taurus. So like there's been some like really good opportunities, and that happens until June of 2024 this year. But for you, it's in your solar return chart in the 6th house, which is the actual people that you service, so your patients. And so it's like this overlap of the people that you serve, and it's your natal 8th house of getting their money. And Jupiter's there, and Uranus is there, so it might be a little bit surprising. And
Okay.
Yeah, the play between Saturn and Jupiter.
how you get it, and
I'm
what
open.
opportunities
I've
there are.
definitely decided I'm open
I'm
to
open.
Any ideas?
any money that wants to come to me in any way.
Yeah. And then it's also with, then of course with Mars in the 2nd house in Capricorn where it's exalted. And
It's interesting because I've already started feeling this like when I've been thinking about this year, I was like, what do I really want? And like I was like, I want to make money. So it's I've already been feeling it.
well, and with its close conjunction with Mercury, I think the best thing that you can do is talk about that you want money. With Mercury that close to Mars is the king in the 2nd house. It's exalted, so the way that you can supplement Mercury there is to talk about how you want money.
Okay.
It's exalted of the same.
It's just keep talking about
Got
it. Like
Sounds good.
mantras,
I
like
know I've been doing
write it down.
affirmations. I totally
have. Yeah. Just talk about it as much as you can, and then the opportunities will come.
It's kind of funny that it's like sometimes I think I'm deciding these things, and then I'm like at the chart, I'm like, maybe I'm just feeling what's in the stars. But
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
No, I did. I mean, I was like, I really was thinking about it. Their house is also on there, but and it's different because that's not always what comes up for me.
Yeah. I would definitely say Saturn in the 4th.
Buying a house, you mean?
I was just saying this.
No.
You
Wanting to make money.
Oh,
That even makes even more sense because Capricorn is your natal 4th house. And that's what's in the 2nd house of the solar return.